In 2012, following the overthrow of Muammar Gaddafi, Benghazi in Libya is named one of the most dangerous places in the world. And countries have pulled their diplomatic officers out of the country in fear of an attack by militants. The United States still has a diplomatic compound, not an official consulate, open in the city. Less than a mile away is a top-secret CIA base. The Annex, which is protected by a team of private military contractors from Global Response Staff. GRS. New to the detail is former U.S. Navy SEAL Jack Silver, who arrives in Benghazi and is picked up by fellow former U.S. Navy SEAL Tyrone Woods, the commander of the GRS team and a personal friend of Silver. Arriving at the Annex, Silver is introduced to the rest of the GRS team. Former U.S. Marines Mark Oz Geist, John Tig Teagan and Dave Boone Benton and former U.S. Army Ranger Chris Tanto Peronto and the CIA Chief of Station Bob, who constantly gives the team strict reminders to never engage the citizens. Prior to the U.S. ambassador's arrival, the GRS team members visit the special mission, where the ambassador will be staying. They review the location and warn Diplomatic Security Service (DSS) agents Scott Wickland and Dave Ubben about the risk of minimal security arrangements and the high probability of a surprise attack due to the weak central government. U.S. Ambassador Chris Stevens arrives in Benghazi to maintain diplomatic connections amid the political and social chaos, with limited protection from 5 DSS agents, principally Wickland and Ubben, along with guards hired from the local February 17 Martyrs Brigade militia. Nicknamed 17 Feb. On the morning of the 11th anniversary of the September 11 attacks, Stevens notices suspicious men taking pictures of the compound and notifies his security detail. Back at the Annex, Silver finds out that his wife is pregnant. That night, a group of militants from Ansar al-Sharia assault the compound. The 17 February guards are quickly overrun, which allows the attackers easy access to the compound. Wickland takes Stevens and Smith, an IT specialist, to the safe room. Unable to breach the safe room, the attackers set the building on fire hoping to burn the men out. Wickland escapes but loses both Stevens and Smith. At the Annex, the GRS team desperately wants to go to the compound to help, but the chief refuses for fear that the team's departure would expose the Annex. However, the team dispatches to the compound anyway and meets up with the DSS agents. With the team splitting up, Silver, Woods, and Teagan head to the consulate, while Peronto and Benton head to the back gate, assisted by a few 17 February militants. Silver and Woods enter the building searching for Stevens and Smith but find only Smith's body. After an intense firefight inside the compound against the militants, the DSS team retreats in a car. But after a beat-up, Wickland goes the wrong way. They are followed by militants on their way back to the Annex. Later, the GRS team also retreats to the Annex, knowing that an attack by the militants is imminent. The CIA staff of the Annex makes several desperate calls for help, but only former U.S. Navy SEAL Glenn "Bub" Doherty, a GRS operator in Tripoli, helps. He forms a team, including 2 Delta Force operators, that flies to Benghazi after several delays. Meanwhile, the GRS team fends off the militants as they try to breach the Annex perimeter. After repelling the largest attack wave, the Annex receives word from ISR that help is coming. The Tripoli GRS reinforcements arrive and begin to prepare the CIA and DSS staff for their departure to the airport. The militants launch a mortar attack in which Ubben and Geist are wounded. And Geist's left arm is partially severed. Woods rushes to aid Geist and is killed by another mortar round. Doherty is also killed when a third mortar detonates directly in front of him. While a wounded Geist and Ubben are being tended to, Delta Force operatives dispose of Woods' body, angering Silver. With the GRS team compromised and the Annex now vulnerable, the remaining GRS operators watch as a convoy of vehicles rolls toward the Annex. Fearing the worst, the operators prepare to make a final stand until it is revealed that the convoy is an element of the Libya Shield Force militia that is escorting the GRS reinforcements. They also find out that Stevens had been found behind the compound but was pronounced dead at the hospital. At the airport, the CIA staff and the wounded Geist board the plane to Tripoli while the remainder of the GRS team waits for the next plane with the bodies of Stevens, Smith, Woods, and Doherty. Peronto is approached by his 17 February allies and gives them some keys to Gaddafi's old armored vehicles. Meanwhile, Silva speaks with his wife and tells her that he is finally coming home. However, he tearfully relays the news that Woods didn't make it. Shortly after, he briefly recalls a conversation with Woods they had at the Annex and zips his body bag up. Closing titles reveal that all of the surviving members of the Annex Security GRS team received contractor medals at a private ceremony, have since retired from the GRS team, and live with their families, and that Geist was able to save his arm after several surgeries after re-enlisting.